Today we're back on the TrueOffMyChest subreddit and I'm so excited. We did the first episode on here the other day, and by the way, if you haven't seen that, guys, definitely go check it out. It was super fun. But yeah, it was immediately pretty obvious that I had to make more episodes on this. So yeah, that's the plan for today. Enjoy, guys. In the first episode, we read a post that was called, "I'm getting married in 2 weeks and I'm totally screwed," and there's a couple of updates here. Hi, it's me again. I want to thank everyone who sent me kind messages and support here on Reddit, and even on other platforms. This has really blown up, and frankly, it's totally bizarre to see my life plastered all over the internet, but it's also nice to see so many people seeming to be genuinely concerned for me. It helps a lot. At first, I had a bit of trepidation about how visible this became, like what have I done? But since this past weekend, I decided to just roll with it. After all, the cat is already out of the bag, and I really believe I've done nothing wrong here, despite a small minority of commenters saying otherwise. I guess there's a lot to go over, and so much has happened. Most of it, if I'm honest, hasn't been that great. Well, it's actually been downright crappy, but I'll get to that. For people who are just following along, the link to the original post is here. First off, I left Mark's house pretty late last night. Sarah already knew I was out quote-unquote discussing business with him, although she had no idea the business was actually her sister's affair, but still, it was getting to an unreasonable hour, mostly because I was trying to get up the nerve to go home and face her. After about 2 or 3 pep talks from Mark, I finally got off my keister and I texted Sarah that I was coming home and I left in my car. As I said in the last update, I was pretty surprised when I got there because when I walked into the house, Evelyn was crying on the couch with Sarah. I hadn't seen Evelyn's car in the driveway when I came home, so this was probably the last thing I was expecting. This was not how I imagined this going down, and I knew that Evelyn's presence was going to make a bad situation a million times worse. Still, I had a timetable that I wanted to move on. I had friends I needed to notify and wedding preparations to cancel, and the proverbial clock was ticking in the back of my head. When I entered the room, both Sarah and Evelyn looked up at me in acknowledgement, but the tirade of accusations never came. I just stared back, raising my eyes in question. The moment passed and Evelyn went back to crying, Sarah back to comforting, and I let it awkwardly hang in the air for half a minute. While I thought, it seemed that Marty hadn't mentioned my assistance in the uncovering of Evelyn's affair, I decided to play dumb. Not for any reason besides I wanted to see how Sarah reacted. I took a seat on a recliner, I put down my laptop bag, and I took my phone out of my pocket. I made it seem like I was just fidgeting with it, and then I asked them, "What's going on?" Evelyn just continued to cry, but Sarah looked at me and said, "Marty is divorcing Evie." Well, yeah, I figured as much. I decided to push forward with the obvious question. "What for?" I asked her. Sarah stopped patting Evelyn's back for a moment and looked at me. I could almost see her face twist and contort. Imagine the look a 5-year-old makes when you tell them to eat their broccoli or finish their lima beans. Evelyn shot Sarah a look that I didn't need to be a sister to understand, and there was a pregnant pause until Sarah finally said she cheated on him. Now, I have to admit, this response freaking floored me. This was absolutely not what I was expecting. Sure, the more cynical readers here might think, well, the cat's out of the bag, so there's no point in hiding it. And yes, that's true, but it's also true that she could have just as easily feigned ignorance, or even worded it another way, like Marty accused Evie of cheating, instead of basically confirming it to my face. Maybe I'm being pedantic here, but it's part of my job to pay attention to not only what people say, but how they say it. Evelyn wasn't happy about this. She kind of crumpled into the couch a bit and did this strange combination of a sigh and a sob at the same time. I wanted to press on, go for the gold so to speak, but I must have stammered a bit. Sarah probably interpreted as shock, and well, she would have been right in a sense, just not how she assumed. "Did you know?" Sarah didn't say anything, she just nodded, her hand still rubbing her sister's shoulder. I didn't hesitate and I asked the obvious follow-up, "How long?" The answer came back a lot easier than I thought it would. 6 months. I was shocked by how easily she admitted to it. Evelyn was shocked as well. She smacked her sister's hand off her, and I think even Sarah was a little shocked at saying it out loud. I leaned back in the recliner and I rubbed my face. Time to tug the rest of the band-aid off. "We're not getting married." There were 2 looks like stunned goats and a chorus of "Huh? What? Huh? What?" from both sisters. I stood up and I repeated myself. "We're not getting married. I can't marry someone who'd cover up adultery, especially not for 6 months." Sarah sprang off the couch and opened her arms. The body language was, "You can't be serious," but I put my hands in front of myself. "I'm serious. I don't like this, not one bit. I don't like that you took part in this, and I can't get married to you now with how I feel. It'd be a mistake." The waterwork started immediately, and even Evelyn did that thing with her mouth that looks like a perch trying to suck air. There were wails from Sarah, accusations of not loving her, appeals to my sense of duty, to the loss of money, money, the inconvenience to all of our friends, the embarrassment of it all. It was frankly nothing I hadn't already thought about, but it definitely felt different hearing Sarah say it through body-racking sobs. It was at this point I probably made a big mistake. Well, maybe not, because I have no idea how long Marty would have kept my involvement in everything off the books, but in an effort to convince Sarah of the finality of it all, I said, look, I already cancelled the honeymoon. It's not happening. I knew that was a bomb the second it left my mouth, and the explosion was damn near immediate. Evelyn, to her credit, had always been pretty quick on the uptake, which is probably how she managed to fool her husband for so long. I could almost see the realization dawning on her when she put it all together with my appearance at the bar earlier in the evening. She screamed, "You son of a biatch," and flew across the room at me. Now, I'm not a huge guy, but I'm no slouch either. But the force that Evelyn flung herself at me had me staggering backwards, and I barely had enough time to get my hands up before she started raking at my face with all her fingernails. I almost lost the phone that I still had in my hand, but I still managed to push her away and say very loudly, "Evelyn, get off me. Sarah, get your sister under control." Evelyn made another lunge for me, but surprisingly, Sarah did exactly what I asked her and wrapped her arms around her sister's waist and held her in place. I looked at Evelyn and I yelled, "Get out of here right now or I'm calling the police," holding my phone up for emphasis. Sarah asked both of us to calm down. She said to me she doesn't have anywhere to go right now and Marty took her car keys. That explained the lack of a car in the driveway, but I didn't care. I was 100% done with Evelyn and I was going to make sure that she knew it. I marched into my home office and I locked the door and I dialed the police. I told them I'd been attacked by my fiance's sister and I'd locked myself in my office, that I was bleeding from my face. Evelyn had scratched me pretty good along the side of my left eye and that my vision was blurry and I feared for my life. I even told them that I recorded the entire altercation on my phone. Right as I was finishing up my conversation, Sarah comes knocking on the door. "Please come out, we need to talk about this, and please, I love you, don't do this. We don't need to do this," and even Evelyn is sorry, she wants to apologize. I'm pretty sure that last one was a lie, but Sarah was obviously losing her crap. I didn't answer her and her attempts to cajole me out of the office, and it ended probably right when the police rocked up to our front door. I could hear Sarah talking to them and I decided to come out. The cops were two males, one of them looked younger than me, maybe around Sarah's age, and the other one looked older and more annoyed about life in general. I introduced myself, pointed at Evelyn, stating that she attacked me and offered to show the cops the recording I made. The younger one asked me if I wanted to press charges and I said yes. He asked me again if I wanted to press charges. I said yes again. At this point, both cops looked at each other and before the young cop could even open his mouth again, I said, "Yes, damn it, I want to press charges. I have video evidence and this is going to court or else I'm going to call up your boss." I dropped his name here and asked him to come down and do it himself. I think they were pretty surprised that I knew his name. Not that we're friends or anything, but given my line of work, I spend plenty of time interfacing with local law enforcement, and I've met most of the brass or talked to them on the phone a couple of times in the last few years. Honestly, at this point, I was getting pretty hot under the collar, and while I get what these guys were thinking, I don't agree with it at all. Facts are facts. Sure, I might not be bleeding out on the floor, but Evelyn assaulted me in my own home and I wanted her gone. Thankfully, the situation didn't immediately escalate and the two officers handcuffed Evelyn and put her in the back of the patrol car. She was squealing and crying like some sort of gibbering maniac the entire time. Sarah wasn't much better. She just kept going, "No, please, no," over and over again. At this point, the younger cop circled back and asked if everything was okay here. I just told them I was going to go to bed. He asked Sarah again and she didn't immediately answer, so he goes, "Is everything okay here, ma'am?" It was obvious what he was fishing for. At this point, I really disliked the guy, but I bit my lip. Sarah, finally realizing that the cop was addressing her, just nodded at him. Obviously, the guy is not satisfied with this and starts to ask her again, at which point I interject and say, "If you want to go on a fishing expedition, you might want to do it over there on the lawn where my doorbell camera isn't recording you." I think at this point I'd pushed my luck with this guy one too many times, but what could I do? I think I was probably about 30 seconds from getting the cuffs slapped on me until his partner came up and basically pulled him away. He was an older man, probably in his late 50s, and probably didn't want to process two arrests right at the beginning of his shift, especially when one of them was going to be way more trouble than it was worth. I'm pretty sure he talked him out of it and they left, carrying Evelyn away and hopefully out of my life forever. At this point, I'm thinking about if I want to stay here or not. The fact that my parents lived a couple of hours away, combined with the thought about how poor I'm going to be in the short term, ruled out either their place or a hotel, so I just decided to sleep in the guest room. Sarah made some futile efforts to get me to engage with her in conversation or to sleep in our bed, but I just told her that we'd talk tomorrow and that I was tired and I didn't want to be disturbed. Thankfully, she let me be and I crashed hard, harder than I had in years, which pretty much brings us up to speed on the last update. But dear friends of Reddit, let me tell you this, the next day was by far the weirdest day of my life. To start with, I woke up at 11 AM, Sarah was still home, she cleaned the house from from top to bottom. I mean, the floor sparkled, the toilet shine. I could lick the linoleum in the bathroom and it'd probably be minty fresh. She'd obviously been busy, but when she saw me, she sort of hovered out of immediate range. Not quite engaging, but looking like she wanted to say something. I get it, last night was traumatic for everyone and she was probably uncertain. Like, did I just cancel the wedding in the heat of the moment? Was I serious about this? Was I really angry? I took a deep breath and I told her that we needed to finish talking. She tried to sit next to me on the couch and I thought about rebuffing her, but I didn't. We were not getting married, but I didn't need to act like I hated her because truthfully, I didn't. I was disappointed in her, decently disgusted by some of the things I'd read in her text exchanges between her sister, but we were both hurting here and I didn't want to make it any worse or escalate things to the point where life could get any more complicated than it already was. It took some more convincing on my part for Sarah to truly and fully believe that the wedding was off. She was not taking it well. Hell, that's an understatement. She was a wreck. I think she was hyperventilating a few times. I was holding it together better, but obviously not only was this my idea, I had also had longer to come to terms with it. Finally, she asked the serious question, so what about us? I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from people for this, especially the kind of Redditors that think that every infraction in a relationship is grounds for nuking it from the orbit. And indeed, one could even say that me calling off the wedding was like dropping a Moab on our 6-year partnership. But truthfully, I didn't have an answer for Sarah in that moment. I just didn't know, and I told her so. I said I read all the text messages and it showed me a side of her that I didn't know existed, and that I wasn't certain about her or our relationship anymore. I said I couldn't understand why she would go along with Evelyn putting down Marty and joining in, and even egging her on in cheating on not only him but their daughter too. She just kept saying, I know, it was wrong, I know. I asked her for an explanation, but she couldn't provide one. She just said that she got carried away and said that she had to choose her sister. I told her I thought a good sister was someone who kept you on the straight and narrow and didn't give you a free pass to be a douchebag. She agreed with me and she said that she would be better, but that Evelyn had always been the boss when they were kids and she was always the follower. I get this, I have an older sibling too, and while I'm a bit more independent, I also spent the last 18 years of my life with him living on the other side of the planet, except for the odd occasional visit around Thanksgiving or Christmas. But still, maybe I had a leg up on Sarah because my other sibling was a decent guy, while Evelyn was a piece of trash. Now here's where I got the second major shock of my life in like 48 hours. Sarah says to me, it's not fair, it's not fair. What's not fair? I ask her. You were sexting that bimbo wife Mandy girl on Instagram last year and I got over it. I was so hurt, but I got over it. Why can't you get over this? Why? Huh? What? What the hell is she talking about? Who is this bimbo wife Mandy? Like, I have no clue. I ask her if she was high or having a psychotic break. Like, okay, yeah, that was mean of me, but I have absolutely not been doing cyber sex or sexting or whatever with anyone, especially not some Instagram girl. I'm protesting pretty loudly at this point, and Sarah is yelling at me through her tears, telling me that she saw the messages last year and that she decided to not confront me because I'd stopped it. Evidently, she'd been checking my social media from my home computer while I'm at work, which should have been really boring because I have only family and a couple of work friends on there. I try to make this case to her, offering to let her log into my accounts and check for herself, but she's just calling me a liar and a pervert and all sorts of crap. She starts throwing stuff at me, and so things are getting out of hand, and I tell her that if she throws one more thing, I'll have her taken out of this house, just like her sister. She swears at me and stomps off to the master bedroom and slams the door. Now, at this point, I'm so damn confused, I barely even know what to think. I head into my office, I fire up my desktop, and I type bimbo wife Mandy into Google. Sure enough, there's an Instagram, a Twitter, a Reddit even, and of course an OnlyFans. I click on one of the Instagram links and up comes a post of an extremely busty woman, like clearly pushing the limits of science and technology. And oh, guess where she's from? Australia. Well everyone, remember all the nice stuff I was saying about my brother? Guess who was staying with me last Christmas all the way from Australia? Guess who I told? No way! Sure, go ahead and use my office computer to play games if you have jet lag. As far as I can tell, my brother, after his wife and kids went to sleep, logged into either Instagram or OnlyFans or something, and was probably paying money to sext with this girl. What a great guy. Wow, no way. Now, I would love to call my brother and not only confirm my suspicions, but also give him a goddamn earful, but it's like 2 or 3 in the morning, so it's gonna have to wait. But I am crawling the walls here trying to sort out how I feel about everything. I feel totally let down by everyone. I think to myself, damn, what is this world coming to? For a brief moment, I try to connect the dots between whatever the hell Sarah saw my brother do and what she did with Evelyn, but try as I might, it doesn't really come together. Maybe she's a more tolerant or forgiving person than I am, which is why she didn't confront me when she saw this, but I wish she had. It would have given me an opportunity to directly tell her my whole personal stance on these things and to even show her how I'd act. It might have influenced disaster in a good way later on, or maybe it wouldn't have mattered, I don't know. All I know is that this post is becoming a novel and I've blown off most of the morning when I should have been working to get this out of my head and onto this page. I feel better for doing it, but there's still probably another 2 or 3 posts left to tell. I'm not going to post them to this subreddit anymore. I'm not sure if they'd even let me, but I'll try and quietly update my profile in the next day or 2 with the rest of the blowout, talking to my brother, talking to my parents and Sarah's parents, and finally where Sarah and I stand. One thing I can say, however, is it seems like most of my immediate family relationships are incredibly strained for various reasons. My parents are largely supportive, but that's becoming less so now that the reality of the financial loss is setting in. Yeah, the marriage is still off. That was pretty much a certainty from the get-go. Sarah's parents are a bit more pissed, and I'm sure they're sticking pins in voodoo dolls crafted in my image right now. Evelyn, for people who are wondering, is no longer in jail. She got Sarah to bail her out, and I even laid into Sarah for that, calling her sister's underling, which I think actually struck a chord with her because she wrote like a 20-page letter about how her sister always during her entire childhood. I've read it twice now, and I wish we'd talked about this pretty much at any time within the last 6 years. Maybe things would be different now, I don't know. Anyway, Reddit, if anyone is still interested, expect a final chapter of this saga in like a day or 2, and maybe a follow-up after the former wedding date passes. Oh my god, this has been unbelievable to read. And yeah, I'll definitely read the last update, but not in this episode. That was so wild. I follow my wife's Reddit account just to anonymously give her awards. Oh, is this a wholesome one? My wife does a lot for the family and also works. She's also struggled with mood issues, better now, and likes to mindlessly scroll Reddit to pass time. When she was more depressed, she would literally spend hours a day on Reddit and not even realize it. As she started improving, she started posting tips to help others, and at one point she got an award. She literally lit up that day and was so excited to tell me that she got her first ever Reddit award. I decided to follow her and now watch her posts, not because I'm worried about the content or anything, but when I see that she's gone a couple of months without getting an award, I'll wait for another good post that I would have awarded for myself anyway and anonymously give her one. Oh my god, that's so cute. I like wholesome confessions, they're so nice. I saw my husband and my sister naked in my kitchen. Oh, okay, so this one is not wholesome. I can't move. If I move, it becomes real and I have to accept what I saw and think of what's next. I came home from work early and I saw my sister's car thinking maybe she was dropping off some food from her job. But no, I walk in and I see my husband and sister naked in my kitchen, the kitchen I paid for. As soon as I registered what I saw, I got into my car and left. I kept driving, just driving until I found the hotel that I'm at now. I don't want to believe it. I don't know what to do. My sister, my only family and my best friend and the one who's supposed to be there for me and support me, my husband, my person, my other half, the one who's supposed to love and respect me, the 2 most important people in my life have ruined everything. I've blocked them both on my phone. I don't want to hear any of the BS excuses they'll come up with. I don't want to confront this. I want to go back to this morning when everything was fine. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. That's bloody awful. There's an update here. Sorry for not replying to comments and not updating. Things have been hectic. I didn't think I needed to explicitly say this, but by naked, I meant they were butt naked and doing the horizontal mumbo in the kitchen. I admit mentioning that I paid for the kitchen was odd and kind of funny, but anyone that knows me knows that the kitchen is my pride and joy. So yeah, when I saw my sister and husband doing it in my kitchen, it stuck with me. And yeah, they did see me. When I got to the hotel, I cried for a few hours and then I just wanted to tell someone, anyone. The 2 people I would talk to when something happened in my life were the 2 people I needed to talk about, and it was 11 something in the evening, so I wasn't going to disrupt my friends' evenings and burden them. So instead I came to Reddit thinking that not many would see it. The response I received was overwhelming. I want to say thank you to everyone that sent me kind words and advice. Thank you so much for all the virtual hugs. I only commented once. That's because I had so many things to think about and do. I appreciate all the love and support. There was so much amazing advice given in the comments. Although a lot of it was American based, I still appreciate it. But one thing I did see a lot was to unblock them and keep the text and calls as evidence. So I did do that. After posting and another good cry, I knew that I had to get my stuff together. I didn't have my sister or any family to help, so I had to do it myself. I started researching what my next steps were. In the morning, my friend called me saying that my sister contacted her wondering if I'd been in contact with her. I told her what happened and she very kindly offered her spare room and her day off work to help me sort stuff out. I called in sick at my job and my friend helped me get things done. I got in contact with my friend who works at a bank and she helped me start sorting my financials. My friend also found me a lawyer to consult with. After my phone consultation with the lawyer, I was so overwhelmed. I know now why so many men don't divorce their cheating husbands. It's a lengthy, expensive and emotionally draining process. I fortunately make a stable income and can support myself, and we fortunately don't have kids. I have to remember that things aren't going to happen in one day. It'll all take time. As As for the house, unfortunately his parents bought it for us, and to be honest, after what I saw, I don't want it. I'll try and get reimbursed for my beloved kitchen, otherwise it can burn for all I care. This has been super draining, but I knew I had to talk to them. I already knew there was no coming back for my husband, and when I checked his messages, they said exactly what I thought they would say. I'm sorry, it's not what it looks like. We didn't mean for it to happen. Please come home. I love you, blah, blah, blah. Just absolute BS. A small part of me thought maybe I could find it in me to forgive my sister, as we only have each other, but after I opened her messages, all hope was lost. She used the same excuses we heard our father use when he cheated on our mother and beat us. She said the same things our mother would say when she would excuse our dad's behavior and also beat us. I spoke to her this morning and I asked her to tell me straight up who, what, where, when, and why. She told me back in July when I went on a girls trip. She was at our house and I joked to my husband that I would cheat on him on the girls trip because that's what always happens. Oh my god, what? He said nah, and they joked about it, but she said that he could get even with me, and they ended up doing it once. One time led to 2 to 3 to whenever they could do it. There was never any evidence or signs of anything that I was going to even think about cheating. I told her we were done and there's nothing she could do to bring us back together. I later received a call from an unknown number. It was my mum, who I haven't spoken to in 7 years. Turns out that my sister has been in contact with her and told her what had happened, and my piece of crap mum, the same woman who beat me for breathing wrong, had the audacity to say that this is what I get for taking her daughters away from her. Oh my god. It hurts so much. I know things are going to get messier and this is going to be a long few years. I've now lost all my blood relations. I need to get all my crap and find a new place. I want to show that I can and will thrive without them. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the love and advice, and to the people in the comments that could relate to me, I'm so sorry. It's hard to believe how bloody awful people can be. But yeah, like the top comment says, I'm very proud of you for taking charge and standing up for yourself. I know it's very hard, but you've got this and you will get through this. Yeah, 1,000,000%. And I think that's enough for today. I'm pretty sure we all know what time it is. Time for something wholesome. I slingshotted my son's sticky bug to the ceiling, and as you can tell, they're both fascinated and excited for it to fall back down. Oh my god, that's so cute. It reminds me, I just got like a cat laser toy, and when I shine it on the ceiling, Nez looks exactly like this cat. It's so adorable. I can't stress how important it is to find a partner who believes in you so ferociously that on the days that you feel like you can't, they remind you that you can. Yeah, damn right. That's so beautiful. I'm so grateful for wholesome memes. Babe, honey, sugar, pumpkin, cupcake, pudding. The longer you're offline, the weirder names I'll call you. Cereal, room temperature milk, Nando's, cold McDonald's fries. You cold? Hello, it is me, cold Macca's fries. Okay, that's enough for today. I hope you had a wonderful time, guys. Thank you for watching. That was a wild adventure, and I'm so grateful that you joined me for it today, guys. I'm so happy I'm not reading this stuff alone. And yeah, if you enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. And the comment of the day goes to Val the Femboy. I've never actually watched The Simpsons, but the amount of times Vincey references it makes me really want to start watching it. Oh my god, Val the Femboy, you absolutely should. Like, to be fair, if I found The Simpsons now, I definitely wouldn't love it as much as I do because there's so much nostalgia in it for me. It's been like a family member of mine my whole life. But yeah, like, it's obviously a very good show. And yeah, if you do start watching it, let us know what you think. And thank you for all the support, guys. It means so much to me. As always, make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!